Hector. His legacy is a blend of heroism and tragedy. He was a man of honor. His sense of duty was unwavering, and his courage inspired his troops. But beneath the surface of this legendary hero lies a darker side, marked by relentless ambition and the burdens of his era. He was obsessed, and it is this obsession what triggered the chain of events that would lead to his own downfall and eventually to the fall of Troy. Hector's life was destined for greatness. Born into the royal family of Troy, he was groomed to be a leader and a warrior. His father, King Priam, ruled Troy with wisdom and fairness, and his mother, Queen Hecuba, was revered for her grace and strength. While the Iliad does not delve into Hector's childhood, we can imagine that, as a prince, his early years were likely filled with education and training befitting a future leader. The palace of Troy would have been a place of learning and culture, where Hector would have been tutored in various subjects. Hector's early adulthood coincided with the growing tensions between Troy and the Greek city-states. The abduction of Helen by Hector's younger brother Paris ignited the conflict that would escalate into the Trojan War. Although Hector had no direct role in Paris's actions, he found himself thrust into the forefront of the conflict due to his position and capabilities. While the abduction of Helen by Paris is the immediate and most famous cause of the Trojan War, it is clear that this event was just the catalyst for a much larger and more complex set of motivations. Political, economic, strategic, and mythological factors all contributed to the outbreak and continuation of the war. It is clear that Hector disapproves of Paris's actions, understanding the severe consequences they bring upon Troy. Hector rebukes Paris for his reckless behavior, calling him out for causing the war and endangering their city. Despite his disapproval, Hector stands by his family and his city, taking on the role of Troy's primary defender. His awareness of Helen's abduction and the resulting conflict underscores his sense of duty and honor, even as he grapples with the fallout from Paris's impulsive and fateful decision. This internal conflict adds depth to Hector's character, highlighting his loyalty and the burdens he bears as a leader and protector of Troy. Hector's father, King Priam, deeply values his son's role as the city's primary defender and mourns the heavy burdens placed upon him. One poignant moment illustrating their bond occurs after Hector's death. Priam bravely goes to the Greek camp to plead with Achilles for the return of Hector's body. This act underscores Priam's profound love for his son and his respect for Hector's valor and sacrifices. Hector, for his part, consistently shows respect for Priam's authority and wisdom. His decisions are often guided by a sense of duty to his father and their city. The lack of conflict between Hector and Priam highlights the strong familial bonds and the shared commitment to Troy's defense, adding depth to their characters and the tragedy of the war. Hector and his wife Andromache share a deep, affectionate relationship. Their love is vividly depicted during their farewell scene. Andromache pleads with Hector to stay within the safety of the city walls, to avoid the fate that she fears will befall him.
You don't have to go. You don't.
Her pleas are driven by her love and concern for his safety, as well as the well-being of their son, Ajax. Hector respects Andromache's concerns and values her counsel, yet he feels compelled by his duty to fight for Troy. His response to her pleas shows his inner conflict between his love for his family and his sense of duty and honor. He reassures Andromache, expressing his wish that fate might protect him, but also acknowledges the harsh realities of war. The pursuit of Kleos, or glory, is a significant driving force for many heroes in the Iliad. While Hector's fight for glory is evident, it is not his sole motivation. His commitment to his family, especially his wife and son, and his responsibility as a leader of Troy are equally significant. These motivations often create internal conflicts for Hector, as he balances his personal desires with his duties and the expectations placed upon him. The duel between Hector and Ajax is a significant moment, showcasing the valor and strength of both warriors. The duel is fierce and evenly matched, with both warriors displaying remarkable skill and resilience. They exchange powerful blows, throwing massive stones and spears, but neither gains a decisive advantage. To honor their bravery, the duel ends in a draw, with mutual respect between Hector and Ajax. They exchange gifts, Hector giving Ajax his sword, and Ajax offering Hector his belt, symbolizing their recognition of each other's prowess. This duel highlights the themes of honor, respect, and the shared warrior code among enemies in the Iliad. In a critical moment later in the war, as the Greek warriors were on the brink of total defeat and morale was plummeting, Patroclus, dear friend and companion of Achilles, entered the battlefield donning Achilles' formidable armor. This strategic deception was intended to inspire the Greeks and instill fear in the Trojans, who believed Achilles has returned to the fight. Patroclus fights valiantly, pushing back the Trojans and killing many, including Zeus's son Sarpedon. However, emboldened by his success, he disregards Achilles' strict instructions to return after driving the Trojans back from the ships, and instead pursues them towards the walls of Troy. At this moment, Apollo, the god who favors the Trojans, intervenes. He strikes Patroclus, disorienting and disarming him. Seizing the moment, Hector confronts the vulnerable Patroclus. Misled by the armor, Hector initially believes he is facing Achilles himself. The duel is brief, but intense. With divine assistance and Patroclus now defenseless, Hector delivers the fatal blow, bringing Patroclus down. As Patroclus lies dying, he reveals his true identity and foretells Hector's own impending death at the hands of Achilles. "You yourself are not one who shall live long," Patroclus said. This revelation plants the seeds of Hector's doom, casting a shadow over his moment of triumph. Hector strips the armor from Patroclus, unaware that this act of desecration further seals his fate. This act ensured that Achilles would seek revenge. Hector's obsession with maintaining his honor and achieving glory made it impossible for him to avoid the inevitable confrontation. Ajax, along with Menelaus, fought fiercely to protect Patroclus's corpse from further indignity. The death of Patroclus ignites Achilles' wrath, leading to his return to the battlefield with a fierce desire for vengeance. Hector's victory over Patroclus thus becomes a harbinger of his own tragic end. Achilles' presence on the battlefield was devastating, and the Trojans suffered heavy losses. They were pushed back toward their city walls. As the Trojans retreated behind the safety of their walls, Hector's sense of duty and honor compelled him to remain outside. He knew that Achilles was coming for him specifically, and rather than hide behind the walls, Hector chose to face his fate head-on. Hector, donning Achilles' old armor taken from the fallen Patroclus, initially retreats from Achilles' relentless pursuit around the city walls. Encouraged by Athena in the guise of his brother Deiphobus, Hector finally turns to face his fate, driven by his sense of duty to defend Troy's honor and his personal bravery. The duel begins with Hector hurling his spear at Achilles, a desperate attempt to fend off the enraged Greek champion. However, Athena deflects the spear harmlessly aside, underscoring the god's role in influencing the outcome of mortal battles. In response, Achilles throws his own spear, guided by divine intervention, and strikes Hector's shield, narrowly missing him. As the duel escalates, Hector realizes the futility of his efforts against Achilles' divine strength and skill. Despite his valor and determination, Hector cannot overcome Achilles' overwhelming prowess. Achilles closes in, fueled by grief and fury over Patroclus' death, and delivers a fatal blow, piercing Hector's neck with his spear. Throughout the duel, Hector's obsession with honor is palpable. His decision to face Achilles, knowing the likely outcome, underscores his obsession with honor and adherence to the warrior code that prioritizes glory and courage in battle. Even in the face of certain death, Hector chooses to confront Achilles rather than retreat to safety within Troy's walls, highlighting his tragic flaw of prioritizing honor over personal survival.
The winner will allow the loser all the proper funeral rituals.
There are no pacts between lions and men.
In his final moments, Hector implores Achilles to return his body to his family for proper burial rites, a plea that reflects his deep-rooted respect for cultural and familial traditions. Achilles, consumed by his desire for revenge and the demands of his own honor, callously denies Hector's request, further emphasizing the irreconcilable clash of values between the two warriors. Achilles tied Hector's corpse to his chariot and dragged it around the walls of Troy, intending to humiliate his fallen enemy. This act of desecration was a grave insult, violating the sacred Greek customs of honoring the dead. Achilles continued to mistreat Hector's body for several days, refusing to return it for proper burial, until King Priam, Hector's father, courageously visited Achilles' tent to plead for his son's body. Achilles, moved by Priam's plea, finally agreed, allowing Hector a dignified burial. Hector's tragic end embodies the consequences of his unwavering commitment to honor, ultimately leading to his downfall and the inevitable demise of Troy. Hector's obsession with honor and duty, while noble, ultimately led to his downfall. His strong sense of duty to protect Troy and his desire for glory made him take reckless actions that cost him dearly. Hector's sense of honor pushed him to face Achilles, the greatest Greek warrior, even though he knew he was likely to die. He chose to fight because he believed it was his duty to defend his city and his reputation. This decision wasn't just brave, it was dangerously foolish. He ignored the safety of his family and the needs of his city, leading to his death and leaving Troy without its strongest defender. Hector's desire for glory led him to kill Patroclus and take Achilles' armor, thinking it would bring him honor. Instead, this act enraged Achilles, who then sought revenge. Hector's pursuit of personal honor thus directly triggered his demise. Hector's obsession blinded him to the wiser choices he could have made. Instead of listening to his loved ones or considering strategic retreats, he consistently chose the path that he thought would make him appear most honorable. This misguided pursuit of honor put not only himself, but also his entire city in greater danger, showing how dangerous and destructive such an obsession can be. Hector's obsession with honor and duty, while admirable, led him down a dangerous path. His relentless pursuit of glory and his refusal to heed the advice of his loved ones blinded him to the perils of his actions. Hector's flaws highlight the complex nature of heroism, showing that even the most revered warriors are not immune to dangerous behavior and misguided choices. What would have happened if Hector had acted more strategically instead of confronting Achilles directly? Would he have changed his fate if he had not taken Achilles' armor from Patroclus? Would Troy have fallen if Hector had lived? Comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you for watching.